Everyday Canadians are struggling to buy groceries. Tent cities are cropping up everywhere and growing. Our healthcare system is collapsing and our housing crisis is nowhere near done. But today in Ottawa, a parade of pomp, golden thrones, motorcades, and media fawning told us to just shut up and smile, Canada, because the king is here. And apparently, that's all that matters. See, today was beyond tone deaf. This might be one of the most offensive and disconnected events in Canadian history, and this will be my last video on this visit. Let's go.
Welcome to Bakes on Things.
Welcome to Bakes on Things, and apparently welcome to the Royal Flush, because we're flushing immigration, housing crisis, layoffs, all of it down the toilet, because the King's here. Today, Canada was treated to a pageant, fit for an empire. The King and Queen arrived in Ottawa to a full military parade. Bagpipes blared. Red carpets were rolled out. And yes, custom-made thrones were unveiled like it's 1825. And then came the speech from the throne. Ironically, a speech that was meant to be about Canadian sovereignty, unity, and resilience. Read that again. Sovereignty, delivered by a British monarch on a gilded throne in the middle of a national crisis. One Mark Carney has called himself the crisis of a lifetime. I mean, you can't make this up. You really can't make up what has gone on in Canada over the last 2 days. And trust me, if Pierre Poilievre had invited the king and done this exact same thing, I promise you I would be just as up in arms about it because it's so insensitive. As stories begin to trickle out, we're learning that homeless individuals, yes, actual human beings, were moved off the streets so they wouldn't appear in the background of the parade route while on CTV and CBC. This is the kind of thing you expect to hear about in dictatorships, not in a democratic Canada. Forget solutions to housing or affordability. Why would we dare deal with that? Today, the priority was all optics, all to make Mark Carney look good, make it look like everything is fine, sweep away the reality, and let the marching band play. That's what they showed us today. That's how loyal they are to you, Canada. So, despite the struggling single mother or single father out there trying to just feed their families, we have a king on a golden throne with no idea how much all of this cost. And to sprinkle even more hypocrisy on top, the royal visit included tree planting yesterday, a tree planting ceremony to honor the environment, which would seem on the surface just fine because the cameras pointed at that. Meanwhile, 19 separate media trucks were idling around the event, spewing CO2 while capturing footage of an imported king pretending to care about our climate change. This is greenwashing on steroids. It's not activism, it's theater. That's the simplest explanation for what you have seen over this last 2 days. The man who cares so much about the environment flew in here on a private jet. And where was the media? Well, they were actually right there, gushing over the symbolism, fawning over the ceremony. Not one question even asked about the cost of this event, not one mention of what was really happening in this country. They didn't ask why we need a monarch to tell us we're sovereign. They didn't ask about the homeless crisis or why the homeless were hidden from us yesterday and today. They didn't ask why taxpayer dollars went into golden thrones instead of housing, addiction treatment, or food banks, as was promised in the election campaign and should have been dealt with on day one. Instead, they gave us wall-to-wall coverage of the king's visit from the moment he got off his private jet to the moment he got to sit in his golden throne. They even reported on the king requesting local falafels, as I said in my video this morning, as if that was the national story today. This is not journalism, it's royal propaganda, and it's disgusting. And the fact that the king even came here to do this in a time where we are sitting here with people not eating is insane to me. Look, let's be honest. If we were truly sovereign as a country, we wouldn't need a foreign head of state to deliver our government's speech, despite the supposed tradition behind it. We wouldn't require a throne built for someone who lives 5,000 kilometers away, built custom with taxpayer money. for him and his wife. This doesn't prove Canada's sovereignty, it undermines it. We've spent years telling ourselves we're independent, but today was a brutal reminder that we're still playing house in someone else's castle. It's really a scary time in this country when we deal with rampant immigration, inability to buy homes, people who can't eat and are starving, people who are not able to afford their home gas bills and hydro. But what we saw today, that wasn't Canadian pride. It wasn't pageantry. It was an absolute insult to every Canadian who's feeling the times right now, to every Canadian sleeping rough, to every Canadian family choosing between rent and groceries, to every overworked nurse and underpaid teacher, to Indigenous communities still waiting for clean water and real reconciliation. But sure, sit on your golden throne. Smile for all the cameras around you. Have a big parade as you move your way through to the Senate. Fly home on your private jet this afternoon and pretend this was all about serving the people of royalty, the people of Canada. But we're not buying it. Not every Canadian citizen who's sitting there struggling right now, who's wondering where their next paycheck is going to take them. If you're as disgusted by this spectacle as I am, then you need to share this video, comment on it, talk about this story in the comments to help promote it on YouTube. Some of these videos today are getting throttled. So tag your MP, tell them what's going on, tell them you disapprove. Canada deserves better than this royal charade. We can't take it back now. It's happened, it's done, but the government now needs to get to work. And that's what we're going to take on for the rest of this week. Let's talk about the real issues. Let's understand real sovereignty, and let's stop bowing to pageantry while our country falls apart behind the curtain. You had your little show off moment, Mark Carney. Now it's time to get to work. I'm Chris Baker. Thanks for watching Bakes on Things, and we'll catch you next time.